All right, this is David. I just got done soloing Storm Shield Defense number 7. On some areas, it worked extremely well with this build, and on others, definitely could be improved. One of the things with watching other videos is usually they never did basically a lesson learned or go back and look at what damage was done where. And I wanted to go through and do that for people, show where I did have success and how I built to have that, and then also look at some of the areas that didn't work out so well. I'll go ahead and walk through them in the same order that they happened, with starting from the east. Now, as I said in the video, you have the big open area here because of the great big lava ball that comes down. Out here, right past the edge, I just built a rooftop with a 2x4 grid with traps on top. What ceiling traps I use is just whatever I have the most materials in stock for. And then before I get into the actual main area, around here you'll have some sneaking around, and so I go ahead and put 2 launchers here. That one obviously got ate up, and they will come around here with the majority of them getting knocked down and out. And I'm going to be running this again for Storm Shield Defense number 7. The mobs were level 108. They'll probably be level 120 the next mission, and there will probably be a lot more of them. So I'll probably extend that to put some more launchers there. Hopefully take them out. Over here to stop what was happening is a lot of them were coming over and attacking the fort from the north. So I just built one vertical and one horizontal wall there, and there's one other place over here. And they don't bash that at all, but what they do is come in here, go underneath, and I had a plate of pure metal here. They bashed through it, come around on the on the north side here. On the first couple Storm Shield defenses, I did have Husk spawn at this location, but I haven't seen anything spawn there since about 3 or 4, and I helped over a dozen people with their higher level Twine Peaks Storm Shield defenses, and I've never seen anything come through here in the later stages. So I'm kind of taking a risk by leaving that open. I do have this little tunnel, and this is where they're coming around and going to the first tile of my home base here. So I put up a 45 launcher and some traps, and it had 1 piece of metal worth of damage done to it. And the problem with these launchers is you can't always tell how many times they have left in them. So I might have to come up here and just destroy this to put a new one down there, because I know it got used quite a bit. And besides that, I don't think there is any actual damage on the rest of this. And then we'll go down into the main area. And I'll come back and fortify this later. But for the main area, I have it coming in over the lava. For areas like this, what I usually do is just run around and put down a wood floor everywhere, and then I run back over it a couple times, let the comet hit, and whatever is left standing is where I start building. For this, I just did a real basic entrance area. Just have them slowed down and eaten up by a little bit of the traps to kill the smaller ones. As I stated in the other video, I used to go all gas traps, which are damage over time, with freeze traps, but the freeze traps kept running out even before halfway through the run. So I just went back to using good old spike traps to slow them down. Wow, they got through one piece of metal. That was it. The entire wave come with over 90% of them coming in here. I actually kind of wanted them to do more damage just so I could show. But what I have, I call it a bunker defense, where it's basically is them just beating on metal with launch pads and pushers, keeping them off, while in here I got traps all around slowly eating them up. And as I said, this had a launcher and launcher here and a 45, and they managed to beat through that one piece of 45. If you go through this, it slants up just like it is here, natural, and then there's two more rows just like this of floor launcher, 45, and then wall pusher. And that's great. I've only had them one time get past this wall, and that was when Smasher spawned with them. And out of 5 or 6 times doing this, they have never gotten oh, I only had the Smashers one time, sorry. And from the video you also see nothing gets up here except for the laser face guys for some reason come up here and try to kill me, and they don't actually do any damage to the building. But for some reason something spawns inside of this wall almost every time. I put down, this is my main home base, which is just 3x3 metal, and I do have one bunker wall here. This is what I was showing you earlier with the 45-degree push plate on the side to the north. But almost every single run I'll come back over here and this 45 is damaged, and once I ran over here and you could actually see the mob inside of it beating it, even though there's no way for that mob to get in there. But that's pretty much it for my home base there. This used to be all covered with metal and traps from every direction. But on this run, when I started it, Storm Shield Defense number 7, I had 0 structures to spare. I had totally used them up, and in order to do that I had to go through and bash down every single spare plate I possibly could. Before we jump to the next amplifier, I want to run over here because this is, I mentioned before, where there's random spawns doing random damage. This was not damaged before. This had a 45-degree plate with a launcher here over on this amplifier before I started, and this amplifier was never attacked. So I don't know if they came over from the other ones, but yeah, I keep finding damage in areas that should have no damage whatsoever. But I'll go ahead and get over to where wave 2 hit. And before I start on that, I will mention just how I build my amplifiers different. A lot of people, when running Storm Shield defenses, they just build pyramids, build a little bit of trap tunnels, and then they got 4 people with RPGs just killing everything. And that works great if you got a team of 4. If you are a team of 1, my main concern is actually I got to be able to get up away from the fight because I don't want propane tanks targeting me. I don't want lobbers targeting me. And I want to be where I can go up and down easily and be able to have jump pads to get me where I need quickly. So basically I just do what is a cross pattern for the first 2 levels, pure metal. And then on top I put this, basically I call it a hat, but it's just a structure that allows me to run up and down the structure as I need to. So now we're 3 tiles high, and I'll run down 1 tile, 2 tile, and then I'm down on the ground. If I need to get back up, hey, all that's missing. But if I need to get back up, I'm back up, got a heal, good to go, and that's about it. That's why I build it the way I do. Since I know this is a smasher wave over here, at least it was for 7, I put up slanted tiles to stop them from charging. And I'm going to bring it up again, the fact, if you watch the video on this amplifier, suddenly there was a smasher in this area. There is no way for a smasher to get into this area without beating down this plate, and at that time that he was there was a wall here still. And the spawn point is on the other side of the amplifier. So the only place that thing could have spawned is up to the north side of the amplifier and just wandered in. And I've actually had that happen on several of my missions now. So even though I have to scale back quite a bit to have structures enough for the additional amplifiers I'm building, you also gotta still have defenses basically 360 around your amplifier for whatever happens to wander in. But now we'll go out here and look at the main tunnels. This is the spawn point on this amplifier, which is, let's see, amplifier C. And it basically, almost everything will come straight up over here. On this side of the cliff, there's an opening here. And it seems like there's always, as you saw in that video and every other time I ran it, you get 3 smashers that come over here, and you have to deal with those 3 smashers. Unfortunately, they did more damage this time than I'd ever seen them do. For here, originally I just had one opening. They'd come around here and into the tunnel, but they kept bashing down the wall I had here. And one of the biggest things I've started doing is that, because what I used to do was just reinforce this with more and more metal, more walls, more 45s to try to stop them from smashing through. But I want them in there. I want them in the trap tunnels getting killed and taken down. So now I've just opened it up. So now they can come in 2 different directions, and added in a few more traps to take them down even faster. One thing I do like to do, if I can put a wall dynamo with a short wall, put behind it wall darts. So now basically I got 2 trap walls attacking this area. The wall dynamo attacking close, and the wall darts attacking these 2 slots as well. Obviously here I had pushers, pusher there, and pusher there, and they're all gone. I'm actually happy they're gone, because that way I don't have to tear down the wall and the trap to replace them. So I'll come through and do that. Same thing with ceiling traps, I'll replace those. Had a pusher here. This was just a back tunnel. I'll get a few stragglers that'll come through here. When I had this closed off before, not with this trap tunnel here, they would go over to this wall and bash through and come through another way. By adding on this little trap tunnel, they stopped doing that. And this is where I wanted everything, because this is just a natural area they walk to get to the amplifier that I can really make a stop point. It works great because I can get them to walk around. Originally this was one plate, one wall plate here for them to walk zigzag around. The smashers would just run up to it and beat it down in a heartbeat. So I put a 45, a little bit more metal and traps, and have them come through here. As you saw in the video, they have a tough time with that. And one of the things I love best that I added in that seemed to work exceptionally well was the shooting gallery up here. I have my 5 defenders all loaded up, and they are just, anything that comes in here, they are taking out. The defenders take a lot of time to figure out how to use them right. Originally, I had them down at this level. Here, over there, all shooting into the tunnels. But they didn't shoot in the tunnels. All they did was look down at the floor where they could detect mobs coming through, but they couldn't see the mobs coming through. and it didn't work so well. So I moved them to the second floor where there's nothing directly 1 square underneath them, and then they ended up shooting everything in the main kill zone, which is what I wanted. Also added in tires this time. Tires, they do a little bit of damage, but they're more a nuisance thing. So when the mobs are trying to come up here, it slows them down, knocks them back, and then everything else is getting slowed down and knocked back by all the pushers and launchers. And everything is getting aimed towards this 1 square here. And actually, that part worked great. And like I said, that's over 90% of the mobs came through here, and they were getting taken out without issue. No real damage to any walls or anything in the whole trap tunnel. All I had to do was keep replacing traps. The problem was that one smasher that randomly spawned, he started taking out walls. And these guys actually got through this time. One thing you'll see throughout Twine Peaks is these areas here, which everybody hates because you can't build on them. And so it makes it extremely difficult to defend. What I had done was just metal on metal on metal. And then I had 2 45s of actual stone. And then I had a 45-degree corner on this corner as well. That was because if they are nature elemental husk, they're going to get through the metal pretty fast. So I wanted some walls being the brick in order to slow them down some. I screwed up this time, I think, on the fact that in order to have more structures to build elsewhere, I took out these 4. And so the reach of my base did not go as far over here as it did when I had things down here. So I'm going to have to go back, put these in to make sure it doesn't mess with the extent of the base. But yeah, this looks really bad, but I don't think this amplifier took a single point of damage. Because all that got back here was the 3 smashers. What I was trying to do is hopefully they would run over, and you saw me hitting them with the RPG, and I wasn't even trying to kill them with the RP as much as to get them on one of these plates, which have 45s up here to push them off into the lava pit. Unfortunately, they just seemed unwilling to go. When I ran it before with level 100 mobs, the smashers were getting launched by the plates a lot more. At level 108, it seemed like it took 2 or 3 more hits by the launchers before they would actually work. And next time, with them being level 1, roughly level 120, who knows how well these will work at all against the smashers. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and jump. This was wave 2. Wave 3 is on the far other side. Wave 4 is right here, so I'm going to go ahead and hit it. I did not do too much building up over here. In truth, there's just not that much room. And I was hoping my defenses here would be enough to keep them away. These had wall launchers on them before, so evidently something was over here trying to break their way in, but didn't get through. In the video, you see my defenders in there at the very end of the tunnel. I put these windows just in case some flinger threw stuff over here, they could take it out. And then over here, because the amplifier, if I can make the jump, is right there. So I went ahead and I had a look. Before I just had the 45s, but I had on Storm Shield Defense 6, I had 2 smashers just randomly spawn over here. And when they spawned, they started bashing in. And fortunately, they weren't able to get through. But it gave me enough concern just to put a little bit more trap and metal down over here. And these plates here, it's great to have something you can put traps on, but the smashers cannot get underneath them, so that's more metal they have to bash through before they can even get to the walls. And I need to put one more in there, but we'll take care of that later. I actually got to do a lot of building. Like I said, when I started this 7, I had used up all structures, and at the end of it, I think I was down 240 structures. Fortunately, most of those are traps, but there's definitely some metal I need to replace. Right down here is the spawn point on the south side of it. And obviously, they will split. Some of them heading up that way, some of them down here. Originally, I had some traps built in here, but as you saw, there's a lava ball that comes in and wipes it out. And I had a pusher there. Same with there. Basically, just trying to push them back and keeping a nice slow response. These are my favorite trap tunnels to build right now. Not everybody appreciates them, but I really like them. And basically, it's a 2x2 square box. The mobs are going to run through as short a distance as possible. Usually there. So they're not going to get hit by everything every time. But what happens is once one gets hit here, they're knocked down 2 tiles back here. They kind of clog up the box because now they're in the way. Then everything gets slammed by that one. Everything gets slammed by that one. And then everything gets slammed by that one. And then they're out of the box and they have to restart all over again. And it seems to work extremely well until, of course, the launchers run out. Then they run up here, get pushed around again, and then run through the tunnel. It looked like hardly anything at all made it to the final tunnel down to the amplifier down at the end there. I made this place right here just to peek out. But also I was getting mobs thrown up here by the flingers, and they would start building on random walls. And instead of trying to keep track of it all, I gave them a small wall to attack with a trap on it. And then that one trap seemed to be enough to kill them all. I put my base right up here, and that helps fortify it, and it also helps regenerate any damage they do. This had a wall launcher on it for the second entrance. And those hardly got anywhere coming in there. I did have a few going around here, as you saw. This takes you into the tunnel. My defender tunnel is right on the other side of this. And in truth, I should have had wall launchers up here instead of these. Originally, I put up the wall darts because lobbers were coming over here. And so the wall darts would just take them all down by themselves. But this time I had somebody trying to bash in the side here. So may have to do a little bit more building over here. This whole area didn't get touched. I wish they'd come through here because this is a great, easy defense. And I did have them come over here either on 5 or 6, and it worked perfectly. But I'll wait until it gets attacked again on one of the future storm shield defenses to walk you through it. Here is my base. Once again, it's just a 3x3 cross, 2 stories high. I put up the 45, so if a smasher gets down here, it won't charge it. And I'm going to put up my storm shield defense number 6 video. I didn't put it up originally because it has a horrible graphic glitch in it, but it worked really well. I did have like 2 or 3 smashers make it all the way down here, and then the 4 defenders here just lit them up. I didn't have to do anything, and you can just see its health dropping like a rock. Obviously this time they weren't going down as fast because they're a little higher level. It'll be interesting to see how the defenders do against level 106 or at level 120 smashers. I don't think a single piece of metal was lost on this amplifier. We did have lobbers throwing here from the area I pointed out before, and they had done some damage, but I was able to easily heal that. And there's a little more damage, not a big deal. In future runs, I'll probably be using the flag instead of the heal for one of my gadgets. So I'm going to have to put up more heal pads up top for that. But now we're going to go ahead to the other side. Just barely missed my jump. But, see, now you know you can't build there. Now this one, I said in the video how much I dislike this amplifier. The next one I'm going to. I really didn't know what the spawn locations were over here, which obviously ended up hurting me quite a bit. And this one definitely took a ton of damage. This amplifier number E on my map, it can get attacked by 3 different directions, from the west, the north, and east. And each of those 3 different directions, the spawns will come in from 2 different points. So basically you're trying to protect against 6 different points. Pretty much the whole amplifier has this really nasty area I mentioned before. Basically this natural staircase area, which you really can't build anything except for flat tiles for them to beat on to defend against. And on previous runs they had been coming in through this area, so I had really built it up. And just to let you know, the amplifier is right there, and I'm trying to draw anything that comes through there through this one area. And on Storm Shield Defense number 7, this 3rd wave was always a propane wave. But they changed the script and suddenly decided to come in through the east. I actually got so much destroyed up there, it's going to be a little bit hard to show. And actually, I'll go ahead and show the one that worked out well before I go too much further. I was trying to force everything to come through this area. Originally, I had totally blocked off that area and that ramp to have them come down here. And I called it the ice box. I gave 2 entrances, but they end up at the same point. And basically I wanted them, since it was propane tanks, I didn't want them to get clogged up. I didn't want them trying to throw their tanks at a wall to get through. So I gave them pretty much a straight run. They can walk straight through here and straight out the end. But the whole time they're walking, they're getting hit by push plates that push them back 2 tiles where they get a freeze trap, 2 wall dynamos, wall darts coming from several tiles away, and also a trap. Once they get back up, they got to go out through freeze trap, roof trap, try to get by the pusher a second time, and basically just keep knocking back. From the way it looked, they didn't even get, well, let's see, that has 19 charges gone, so they got that far. That has 1 charge gone on this pusher at the very end of the tunnel. So this worked exceptionally well. Unfortunately, I had no idea, because I knew they spawned right here. What I did not realize is they had a second spawn point of right here up at the top, and I had built 2 walls, 40 and a 45, to try to push them all over this edge. When they spawned, all that blew up, basically making it so they could just walk right through behind the tunnel in this area that I cannot build up due to the lava balls that came out. One thing is, though, I had this built up for several different builds here, but always on the same tile for several storm shield defenses, and they were always good. I ran back in here after storm shield defense number 7 to take a look, and suddenly a lava ball hit another tile over, taking out even more stuff. So I'm not sure if, well, it seems to be that the lava balls change or can change from one storm shield defense to the next. So I'm going to have to look out for that. But what I had here that did work eventually, once I moved back my blocking wall, they would drop down here, push plate pushing them back down into that little trap thing. That seemed to work extremely well. Heading down straight there, over there, and then I had it so they would drop down here, one tile with traps all the way around it, force them over here, traps all the way around it, and then traps. And this is the setup I had on the other ones. All the traps had tire traps above them, slowing them down even more. And basically I had a ton of things go wrong with this, basically from the get-go, but it still managed to take them all out. They did hit this with a propane tank once or twice, but once I got my defenders up, I was actually able to keep up with it all, as you saw. I've been trying to build up this defense over here. I'm glad they didn't come from this way either. Just, you will have a lava ball come down right here. So you basically got one row of tiles you can build between that rock face and here. But there is no way to section off this area. And there is no way to build walls across this area to stop them coming through. So basically building trap walls as best as I can. Now that this area is exposed, I'll probably build traps out here to slow them down some, and then I'm just going to have to use defenders and RPGs to take them out as they come over this ridge. And now we shall go to the last and definitely the most fun of the amplifiers. And I did not build a quick way to get there from that one. And this spawn, I wasn't really ready for it. This spawn that's here usually goes up to that amplifier. So I'm not even sure if that amplifier can be attacked anymore, amplifier A. Because the new spawn point, the spawn points on it were always to the north and the west. And now those spawn points are going to 2 new amplifiers. So I'll probably be harvesting a lot of metal off them. Here I just had push plate, push plate, push plate, push plate. Basically to slow them down. Didn't know what to expect. Didn't know they would be spawning up here on top. So when I rebuild, I'm going to have to do some kind of traps here, try to force them through there. A lot of them were just walking straight over here. Onto the push traps. Fortunately on this side, all the push traps lead off into the lava. So anything that came over here, got hit, went down. And there was no damage at all done here. This all worked exceptionally well. Actually, much better than I thought it would. Here, I think one propane husk was able to throw his tank. And I was able to absorb the hit from this direction. But there is a big error on this side that I need to address and change. What was happening is everything was getting hit and pushed down there, but they weren't going into the lava right there. They were going over to the land, walking back up, coming around, going around back, and there is the only place that I took damage. They weren't even coming up here on the front side. They were walking all the way around to the back, and evidently some of them made it through. Because going back and watching the videos on the small map, I didn't even realize it because I was so paying attention to the husk and to my traps, trying to keep them up whenever they were used up. I didn't notice that mobs were coming up this backside and over here and damaging my fort. I put the walls back up now, but 4 of these walls got completely taken out without me even knowing it until it was kind of too late. And I'm still... Now that one has a one use, so they did have mobs coming through here and take that out. So next time I gotta be much more aware of the small map. Oh, can't get through there. But over here, if you want to save yourself a lot of problem, and as you notice on the end of my video, hardly any mobs are coming in at the end, new mobs. They were all old mobs just cycling around, getting hit, going down, going back up, going back down. All it would have took is to put one wall there and there. Now when the launchers send them off, they're going down into the lava pit instead of on the ground. And that would have finished everything off much faster. Let's see, same thing here. I could have just put a wall, they would go there. And that would have saved so much time, and it would have saved, because almost all this metal was destroyed at the very end. Part of that's my fault. I got kind of tired of watching them going around. I just finally RPG'd all of them. But also, sooner or later, the propane husks go around enough, they're going to start throwing their tanks. So that is the big lesson learned on this one, is to make sure wherever your launchers are way up here, that they're launching, if you can stop them short and get them to go in the lava, definitely do so. But even though there was some damage, overall I think I had 4 of the 5 amplifiers never take any damage whatsoever. This one did take a little bit of damage, but on a propane husk final wave, it did pretty good. And that is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear your comments on ways you think I could have done it better. And if you got any hints on how to do Storm Shield Defense number 8, looking forward to hearing them. Take care, and thanks again.